video is going to be a continuation of the DaVinci Resolve 15 Basic Pages videos, and you can find links to the media page and the edit page in the article itself. In this video, we're going to talk specifically about the basics of the color page. Starting in the upper left corner, let's take a look at the gallery. If I click on the gallery, you can see that there's a image in the stills area. It's a toggle. If I click on it again, it goes away, which gives me the ability to see more of the clip that I'm working on. Let's move over to the Let's gallery. This is a way that I can apply a look and feel to a clip very quickly just by putting my cursor over the top of it, seeing how that looks. Again, this is a toggle. I'll toggle it off. Media pool is an important one to know about. This is going to take me into what I have in the way of media available to me to work on or work with. This is very similar to the media page and the edit page in that we can take a look into these bins or we can see timelines. So now let's click on the timeline button and you'll see that it displays the timeline down below the clip, and it shows us things like clip color, if we have multiple versions of that clip, and flags and that sort of thing. And let's slide over to the middle. And in this drop down, if we click on the little downward pointing arrow, you can see that we can switch between timelines. So this is the media page timeline, and this is the Vista House timeline. As I slide to the right, we can hide or show our clips. And in this case, when I turn it on, you'll see it show all of the clips that are a part of this timeline. And I can click on these to move between those clips. I'm going to leave that on, and I'm going to slide over to nodes. And nodes are the foundation of the color page. Understanding how nodes work, what they do, is really of paramount importance in being able to take advantage of what DaVinci Resolve offers on this page. I'm going to leave the nodes page on because that is where we do most of our work. The next button over is the open effects. I'm going to switch to show all. Now I have the paid version. Some of these effects are not available without a watermark. For the free version, you can put them on your clips and see what they do, and you may decide that you want to upgrade based on some of the available effects. But it's very simple to use when you're working with the effects, and we'll talk more about those once I get through with the basic layout. I'm going to leave the open effects open. I'm going to click on Lightbox. And Lightbox gives me a view of all of the clips on my timeline in this format. And I can go up to the upper right here. I can increase the size. So this is where I could do some shot-to-shot matching, meaning balancing a clip that was shot perhaps at a slightly different angle or different time of day or at a different white balance, and try to match them up. This view helps in that process. And to move back in, we toggle the light box off, and it brings us back to here. Now let's move down into the view window for the video, and we'll click on this little drop down arrow here. And you can see this lets us size the clip to whatever we want. We can also put our mouse cursor over the top of the clip, and using the scroll wheel or the middle of the magic mouse on the Mac, you can zoom in and out. As we come to the right now this is showing us the entire timeline as 38 seconds and 20 frames. So we come over to here, this is our bypass of color grade and fusion effects. If we click on it, if we had a color effect applied, it would turn it off and on. This hides all the other controls around the side of the clip and gives us the ability to see the clip without any information around it. So then moving right, the arrow tool is what lets me select a node and drag it around in the node view. And the hand actually lets me drag the background of the node view, as you can see. So when we get a bunch of nodes, there might be times when we need to slide over to the right or left and play with that. Now, this in the center, and we can change the size of the node itself, depending on your preference. And next to that, to the left here, is we can see the node tree not only for the clip we're working on, but we can also apply a node to the entire timeline. We have a magnifying glass which allows us to search for things in the library. If we type D Hayes, it's just a fast way of finding things. Let's slide down to below the video viewer and notice that we can grab this vertical bar and we can drag that along. And you can see that it's showing us where we are in the timeline itself. This moves us through a particular clip. So I select a clip down below, I click and I drag it, and we see what's in that clip. I can also click on these buttons. I can click on the right pointing triangle, and this is the play button. And I can stop it. Now watch what happens when I let it continue to play. It moves on to the next clip automatically. If I want to just repeat this one, I can click on this looping button, turns loop on, and now when I play it, it's looping through that clip again and again. Now it's also possible to play the clip backwards. I can slide back. This moves us from clip to clip, these double triangle with the vertical line. Moving down below the clips row, the most important one we have to deal with right now is the color wheels. As we slide right, you can see that we're now in the curves tool. And the curves tool consists of these different curves. And we'll take a look at some of these in this video. The next tool over is called the qualifier tool. And this tool allows us to select parts of an image based upon hue, saturation, and luminance, and then fine-tune those so that we can, for instance, select just the sky or just the rocks and apply a different shadows, midtones, and highlights, change the color. This button takes us to the power windows, and we'll talk about that in basic terms. Here we have the ability to do blurring or sharpening. For those of you with the free version who want to do sharpening on your videos, this would be the place that we would come. Moving farther right, this allows us to look at keyframes. So the next one over is our scopes, but to move back between the scopes view and the keyframes view, we have to do that. The little eye tells us about the characteristics of the clip that we have selected. So then let me come up to the video window, and we really didn't talk about these three buttons. For this first button to make any sense, I need to open up the gallery. And if I have an image selected here, and I click on this image wipe, you can see that it shows me the clip that's selected along with the image in the gallery that's selected. If I put my cursor and hold the mouse down in the center of this, I can drag right or left. And again, this gives me the ability to look at another image and try to match it for color or for exposure, that sort of thing. What that opens up is these other buttons here. If I click here, this now allows me to have it be a vertical wipe. Now to toggle that off, I just click on it again. Now we haven't created versions or talked about versions, and we will do that a little bit later in this video. If we had a version and we clicked on this, it would show us both of those versions in this window. The Magic Wand tool will show us when we select things through the qualifier, what is selected and what isn't selected. And I'll show you an example of that later in this video.